Well, hi to you all. My name is Shingi Munyeza, popularly known as Doc. It's been a long journey for me to be where I am. I'm 57 years old. Journey starts as a rural boy bred and raised during the War of Liberation. Came up to the bright lights of the city, did my finishing off my primary school, going on to my secondary school. Basically brought up in poverty much of my formative years. And then my dad had a breakthrough, became the largest swimming pool builder in the country. And that's where I pick up my entrepreneurial journey and just observing my own late father handling different businesses in construction as well as retail. Well, education-wise, trained accountant, marketer, hotelier, also trained as a pastor, became a senior pastor and the president of EFZ for a good 4 years. Ran corporates, a significant one being African Sun, which I was a major shareholder from 2002 to 2015. And I divested and went into various businesses, including energy, fintech, as well as cloud computing. Yeah, and the journey still goes on. One of my passions is actually creating an enterprise hub called Unpolished Diamond, trying to attract and raise young entrepreneurs and incubate them, accelerate their businesses, and make sure that the next generation has a good capacity of entrepreneurs. The success of any nation depends on the critical number of entrepreneurs that it has, or entrepreneurial ecosystem that they have. Zim has a lot of potential, but we need to tap into that. Yeah, well, I'm married to Wilma and we have one daughter, Nomsa. It's been fun, and I traveled all over the world for various activities, businesses during my tourism years, and where I won a lot of awards. But my turn right now is to give back to the young people, to raise young entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship is not something you just jump into. I always tell this to young people that there has to be a hunch in you that draws you towards risk. Best entrepreneurs embrace risk and manage it. And some people are not good at taking on risk, because entrepreneurial journey has to do much with risk. Now, my upbringing, having been brought up by my grandmother in abject poverty and then coming to the city and to be where I am today, has helped me to have a background that takes you through the personal upbringing, growth, and background risk profile. So whether you have a lot in one day and then you have nothing the following day, you learn to actually deal with it. You learn to actually mitigate it. You learn to actually move forward instead of sulking and giving up. Part of my own journey is that you never give up. I never give up. Yes, I do fail. And I think part of entrepreneurship journey is that you must fail. It's not you sometimes have to. You must fail, because it is actually in failure that you learn. My success rate in starting projects, businesses, and so on is probably around about 25%. The rest of 75% is lessons I learn, and not even the things that it's just that. The 25% is such a big bang. It looks like I'm always successful, but I do fail. But whenever I fail, I learn. The successes I have, I build onto them because they give me more confidence to do more. So my background has worked a bit in terms of what I've become as an entrepreneur. The biggest contribution is how I was raised. The second one is watching my own dad handle his own journey as an entrepreneur. And the third one is my training, my qualifications that I obtained over a long period of time: accounting, finance, marketing, hospitality, entrepreneurship, business management. All that over years has given me a wide range of skills and knowledge to handle the risk. But what is inherent in me is the talent to manage risk. Sometimes it cannot just be trained. It has to be. The journey of entrepreneurship has to do with a conviction that you have. And I'm saying that conviction has to do with your desire to manage and mitigate risk in providing a need that is sustainably provided. So if you don't have that stamina and that desire, you'll always run away from risk, and you could not be what I term a true entrepreneur. You can do entrepreneurial work seasonally, sometimes even for a moment, but true entrepreneurs are always looking at how to provide or how to provide a need by bringing in innovation, product, a service in a situation, and that they must mitigate the requisite risks that are there, but sustainably providing that innovation. So when you grow up without much, you learn the game of survival. And the game of survival means that how much more can you throw at me to stop me? And you realize that as I was growing young, disease could not stop me. I was sickly when I was young. The war of liberation could not stop me. Poverty at that time could not stop me. Even my own physique, I was small, not that I've grown any bigger now, could not stop me from doing exactly what I wanted to do. So there was a drive that was within me. So you've got to have that. Then added to that, you've got to add knowledge and skill. And it's got to be added to a talent that is inherent in you. Many of our young people haven't got the opportunity to discover what their talents are at a young age. Our education system just trains you to make sure you pass with A pluses and so on and so forth. But it doesn't tell you which ones are your talent and hone in on those talents. And how I wish that as we evolve into this fourth industrial revolution era, we will focus more on revealing the talents of young people at a much younger age, so that as they grow, that they add knowledge and skill to those talents. And before long, guess what happens? We'll be able to birth as many talented but equipped young people, and some of those will turn out to be excellent entrepreneurs. So that has been my journey. I am not limited to where I'm coming from. I'm not even limited by the environment. Actually, sometimes I marvel at a negative environment, because therein lies the opportunity. Therein lies the opportunity. So I don't really like all this stable environment. Everything you're given is predictable. It's what you make less money there. The reason why I haven't left Zimbabwe, because the opportunities in Zimbabwe have been there because of the economic environment and the journey we've taken, which has been very difficult. But in that difficulty, I've managed to squeeze in and find out what the opportunities are and be able to carve out my own little niche in there. And that's what I live for. Well, one of my goals is to raise 1,000 entrepreneurs by 2023. It's a goal. I will know by the end of this year whether I would have met that goal, but a lot of work has gone into play. There are certain building blocks that I'm using which will help me to make sure that what I'm doing is sustainable. First of all, I had to analyze the ecosystem on entrepreneurship in Zimbabwe, from innovation hubs, incubators, and even just meeting places where young people exchange ideas. There's a lot that is going on, and I thank God and I thank everybody who is involved in all this. However, one of my challenges has been that we are not as coordinated as elsewhere in the world. This one is doing their own thing, that one is doing their, but there is no touching points. So one of my goals has been, how do we coordinate ourselves better? So because the cake is too big, and sometimes we end up fighting for it, no one eats it, because then it becomes crumbs on the floor. What we need to do is to coordinate ourselves and make sure that anyone who has a heart on entrepreneurship, they have various ways that are really known in this country how to get through it, from ideation to incubation to acceleration and scaling and so on. We need to understand where each one of us is playing. So that, for me, has been stage one. Stage two has been to also look at the financial markets, where they are, even our own market for goods and services, where it is, and also looking at the overall economic performance. What should we do to make sure that we don't start businesses that then fail in a short period of time? And so I've been doing and putting all those nuggets together. The next is to look at now, how do we bring through our young entrepreneurs from just ideation and go through the whole innovation process, and then up to incubation, and then release them into the marketplace or into commerce and industry. The biggest advantage we've got at the moment is that our Ministry of Tertiary Education has established innovation hubs in most of the universities. Now, what we need to do is to connect with what they're doing there, so that industry can come in to dovetail with what they're doing. And me and others who are playing in that incubation space will coordinate everybody and make sure that the throughput does not collapse at a point, but that we put it through all the way to success. So yeah, I have a lot of work and a lot of pieces that we are putting together. But once those are done, the whole acceleration to 1,000 entrepreneurs by the end of the year will become easier. But more importantly for me is that I want it to be sustainable. It's not just about raising a group of young entrepreneurs and then after a year, guess what? They have nowhere to go. We need to do it sustainably and make sure that this adds value to our economic growth and economic development. So that's what I've been doing. It's fun because getting talent has been good. So we have a few programs that are going on in terms of tapping into that budding entrepreneurs. I've got a hub where I am handling a few of these businesses to incubate them and then try and bring in much more through the platform that we would have. But yeah, so far so good. I really think that the bigger work is to make sure that our ecosystem is connecting to make raising young entrepreneurs sustainable. Well, in conclusion, anybody who is out there wanting to do their best in business, I normally throw a couple of things to them. As far as your business is concerned and as far as you as an individual is concerned. So let me just give you just a taste of what I take young entrepreneurs through. I look at your business and I look at three things. The first thing is I've got to look at, is it sustainable? Which means that, are you producing the goods and the services in a sustainable way to a sustainable market? So that's number one. Number two, I have to look at it that, is it scalable? Which means, is your business, is your idea, is your innovation, is it scalable? Which means that, can I bring in much of it to a bigger market? Can I go a geographical expansion? Can I also expand the product offering? Is it scalable? Will it grow? Because some things will never grow. And then we get too excited about it, but there's no growth. There is no measured impact to the market and to the communities out there. The third and last one is that, is it saleable? Saleable here means that, can it attract investment, both debt and equity? Can it attract investment? So is it saleable? And then eventually, can you sell it as a business? Not just as equipment and products, and then, you close shop. Can you sell it as a business? Can you sell it as a going concern? So those are the three things I would analyze on your business. Now I will analyze, and we've got analytical tools that we use to analyze you further whether you are a true entrepreneur. There are three types of entrepreneurs that we use. The first one is that, are you a subsistence entrepreneur? These are people who just buy and sell. Their business doesn't grow. They just meet their daily needs, pay school fees for the kids, pay their rent, and keep going. So that's a subsistent entrepreneur. And when they are sick, the business is also sick. When they die, the business dies. Then the second type is that, are you a lifestyle entrepreneur? A lifestyle entrepreneur is one who can grow their businesses with some level of systems and structures, but everything is growing around them, which also means that it is just feeding into their lifestyle. At the end of the day, what they always do is that any profit, any growth in that business, as they harvest the profits, it only feeds into their lifestyle. They buy new cars, they buy new houses, they buy trinkets. They just grow their own insatiable hunger for shining objects. Now, that is always have to be managed, because sometimes when those people fall sick or die, or even travel, the business will always follow them because they can't do anything without that owner. The last one is what I major in, which is what I call a growth entrepreneur. A growth entrepreneur starts maybe even as a subsistent entrepreneur, even might grow into a lifestyle entrepreneur, but they keep growing systems, structures, and processes in their businesses in such a way that they continuously remove themselves from the operational side of the business so that the business can stand on its own. And it is easy to bring in new investors, new capital, grow the business across borders, new product, and so on, because the owner or the founder is not controlling or is not suppressing growth by his own or her own limitation. So we focus on that growth entrepreneur and start putting more systems, processes, and procedures, make sure that the business grows through its own structures, not because of the entrepreneur. So those are the things I look at. So if one was to bump into me and says, I'm doing this business, my mind starts looking at the person, and my mind also starts working on the business. So you can use those for yourself and see whether these things add up before you even approach someone like me or anybody out there who is a renowned entrepreneur. But yeah, it is a journey that I would love to do for the rest of my life. Raising young entrepreneurs for me is a joy and a delight, and I hope that our paths will meet even as we go along. And for me, I just say, God bless you. Keep pushing, keep going. Failure is an option, but you learn. When success comes, build on it.